Hello. Happy Tuesday. Happy Wednesday. Happy the 2nd. It's a 2. It is a Tuesday. April is the month where I wrote down in my journal for the first time that I was going to start being on purpose, that I was going to do whatever it took to turn my mind energy around and to get myself well. I was so far away. It was 422 when I wrote it down. I wrote down Ripple 422. I had no idea what I was writing, no idea what I was committing myself to, and I just knew it. It was the same knowing that came to me on the pier in that morning. It made me so heavy I couldn't go anymore because it was so knowing. And then you guys know I've been doing a little dream work, right? Because I love talking about our subconscious reprogramming, and that state is accessed in our dream, or in meditation, or in very high alignment, and or impressed with repetition and deep feeling. So I am going through a deep feeling experience, and yesterday a different piece opened, and it was exciting, and I was not expecting it, but I also, in true Nancy form, jumped right in without any, the word is consideration, just jumped right in. And it was funny because I did that, and then I paused because I could feel, I was like, I could be moving too fast here, because I do that. It's easy for me to see things working out. So I jump to that and try to take others with me, and the others haven't yet seen the image, and they're sometimes looking at me like, how did you get there from there? So last night I was asleep, and I'm just realizing it was probably shortly before I woke up, a part of my dream sort of revealed, more of the truth about either where I am or what I truly want from this unfolding. And it's really cool when you can start to really listen to yourself and be honest with yourself. Like, in a lot of situations, we don't have a strong opinion in a way that it pulls the energy. We're okay to sort of go with it or let others add to it. But it's in that deciding where it is done unto you the way you prefer. It is when you say, no. No. And just so you know, in the beginning, all the old energy is going to try and stay alive. Remember, we talked about this. You have to downregulate the current and create a new point of attraction and let that beacon grow and then let that thing show. It just takes a few days, but if you don't let that manifesting growth process happen, no manifesting come out, life will be the same for you. That's really just how it is. Yeah. So I then decided to go completely crazy with my idea. And that felt even better. So that's where we are today. The same idea, new information, expanded. And it makes sense. It always does. It always will. Also, it's Wednesday. On Wednesday, I listen for wisdom. And we all know my wisdom comes from Rose. She be talking to me, especially in the morning. Actually, all day nowadays, but And so on Wednesdays, I try and focus on what's happening in the outer parts of my experience versus my immediate experience. Where on Monday, I think about what can I focus on individually, specifically, powerfully to anchor in the energy I want for this week. Tuesday, I speak it into existence. Wednesday, I sort of go into the everything and just do a little evaluation. Thursday, we appreciate. Appreciation grows. Friday, we celebrate. grows. Saturday we play. It grows, guys. Those energies are grow energy. Because your inner child is like the one in there pushing the button on the manifestations. It's like, give a little present. Woo! Give a little present. Woo! Oh God, I can't stop singing and I can't sing and I don't care. You're welcome. Sorry. All that. I'll be happy when this piece of art fades. Sometimes it's funny, you know. I tend to draw notes on myself. And so I started using henna to also do that too. You know, because some grown-ups that love me think it's not good I put ink all over my body. Anyway, but yeah, I have to say this one brand is not my favorite. Look how but this one, you probably can't see it anymore. It's just tiny fadey lines. That's not how my skin looks, guys. That's like a written one. And I just feel like the way the ink landed, and maybe it's the color. Maybe brown is a more natural color for my skin to blend with than red or black. But yeah, that guy, and I guess it is a different, like, you know how this part of our skin is like flat paint and this part's like gloss or vice versa. I don't know. Or how do you say flat and... Please don't do this, Nancy. Please don't do this. Please don't do this. Just say it. What's the first layer called? Primer. This definitely feels a lot more like primer. Okay, we're done. And okay. Wednesday. Yes. Back at it, back there. So, the work that goes with Wednesday. Heart opening and hip opening. That's where this, this human awakening is happening as a space in the body is through our heart. The place where we store the most energy that doesn't serve us is usually in our hips. So on Wednesday, I set my mind to the everything. I open my heart to everything, and I try to let go of everything. You know what I mean? I try to be so much of a blob without edges so that I can be all of the parts that I like in my edges. You know what I mean? Yeah. I really, it's like being able to take your lines off and then draw them back on. That's what it sort of feels like. Just letting yourself kind of blend in and then unblend, I guess. It reminds me of that one time on mushrooms when when I said, can I see what God looks like? Oh gosh, friends, I'll never stop talking about this experience. I will also never not sharing how much I would advise, not warn or caution, it's nothing scary, but just be a little extra considerate when you're talking to that medicine and what you would like back, because boy does it deliver. It puts Domino's to shame. And Mama had to eat the whole pizza. Oh my God, it was the wildest, longest. I learned a lot, though. You better freaking believe it. Oh my God, I learned a lot. And at the end, I could feel my awareness like a funnel coming back from the whole room, the whole house, the whole city at the end of it. Coming back in from the everything and pouring like a funnel back into me. And it felt like a gift. Like, oh God, I can just focus on me. Thank you. I don't have to keep the walls walling, the whiting, the air airing, the floor. I don't have to keep all that and the earth spinning and hearts beating. being dark and sunny over there, I was like, holy. So I used to do daycare, and at one point I could have 10 and 12 kids in the space. Usually with helper, obviously, when there were that many. But, on a regular, I would probably have like 6 kids by myself. And I was able to sort of be in the everywhere with them. And it was exhausting. And I think it is part of, I know I'm not alone with this, but a lot of people I know, including myself, have this hyper vigilance, this hyper awareness of themselves so that they don't make mistakes or fall short or look stupid or do something to embarrass themselves or whatever. Just this hyper awareness to protect themselves. And I just sort of used it to protect the children. And it just felt like I was always just as with them as I was with myself. And in the 8 years or something, 7 years. I don't even have to knock on wood because I don't do that anymore. It is a done deal. The biggest thing that ever happened is one time one of the babies stepped on glass and we all sat down quietly and calmly and removed the glass and stopped her bleed together. And that was it. I never had to send a child to emergency or call the police on a family member. That one could be fuzzy. But, for the most part, I had a really wonderful experience. But I do think that a lot of it came from my, controlling of the situation. Because while it was a wonderful experience as a whole, my experience of it on the inside was not wonderful. It was not enjoyable. I was not in love with my life. And actually, I didn't like it at all, but I liked having a control because that way nothing else could go wrong, and that was important to me that I'd not let anything happen to the kids. So it just made sense that I just keep that same sense with what I was doing still. Fast forward to now, and, as I create new things that aren't just between me and me, between me and the everything and other people and other places, it sort of feels like that remembering all over again, like, oh, maybe this isn't real. Maybe it's not right. Maybe it's not possible. Maybe it's not true. And that's sort of the fun in it. It's like watching one of those movies where you're like on the edge of your seat and you're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Like, I know that part of me loves that energy and has loved it enough that I've called that experience energetically in more than I probably want to admit. So now, as I have been shifting into a more consistent, stable, thriving environment, I don't have those rushes of what are we gonna do, and it's wonderful and it's new and it means I have to learn how to walk in these shoes, and it's fun and funny. Yesterday evening I was putting water away in the refrigerator and I could hear myself or the selves thinking, I haven't done enough today. And then immediately right away, I said out loud, you are not measured by what you do in a day. You are loved. If this is all you've done today, you are loved with dishes. And I left dishes in the sink. I was like, don't do that. Don't measure yourself that way, because that was the sort of mindset that trapped me into so much separation with myself, so much dissection and disgust with myself, was picking apart and not just letting it all be a part of it all. I looked and super focused on the parts where I didn't feel strong, hi Dovey, or empowered or correct or loving. God. And it was just like a roulette wheel of things I didn't want. And when I finally decided, once I finally learned, that was actually the thing. I had no idea. At this point, I couldn't trust anybody. Literally couldn't trust anybody. And I didn't really know that. I just had this deep, separated feeling of not belonging, not having anyone, not wanting to be here, not wanting to do this. Like, when I think about the steps that I took, and while I know that they may seem really small to some people, small is big to me. And it was big, But I remember that day in April when I was like, I'm going to be on purpose. I'm going to be so on purpose. And every day I'm going to do my best. And then every next day I'm going to do my next best day. I'm going to do even better. I'm only going to do this to make myself happier. I'm only going to give myself more and more of what I truly deserve. And that's the only story I'm looking at. All the other parts can fall away and come into vision or not. I'm completely comfortable in my character role. Finally. Anyway, I'm not sure if that made a lot of sense. But I'm going to go set up to do a little bit more yoga and potentially a photo shoot today. I think I'm being lazy about it, actually. Because, if I think about it, I'd like help. And on the other hand, would I like help? Because I'm great at taking pictures. I think I'm okay at posing. But it is uncomfortable a little bit when other people are taking the pictures for me. Not as comfortable as it is myself. So I guess if I had to be honest, I'd rather that I could be able to set it up and take all the pictures by myself. Also, sometimes I'm fine being uncomfortable. Just don't tell me that right now, because I just did. That's what I said. Alrighty then. I will talk to you guys soon.